welcome to Boopcast episode 13! Yay! We are your hosts for this podcast, SheNoob and...
Cory.
And it has been far too long since there has been a Boopcast, I know. We apologise. I know originally we said we were going to do regular podcasts during the Chibi season, but it hasn't really worked out with our schedules, and it's just been we felt like there hasn't really been enough to do with Chibi to actually talk about. But now that there's been RTX, there's been a trailer for the new volume, and we have to talk about the Volume 4 soundtrack as well, because that's been out for some time now. So, there's plenty to talk about. So, podcast, yay!
Yay!
By the way, before we start, this podcast will be uploaded to YouTube after it's been live streamed, but from now on, every podcast is going to be live streamed on Twitch. So, if you see anyone in the YouTube comments who isn't aware of that, can you just let them know? I'm going to put it in the description of every video, but people miss things. Also, if you weren't aware, you're watching the stream and you didn't know, or if you're watching this on YouTube, we have a Discord where we talk about basically everything to do with RWBY. That's where I announce when I'm streaming. That's where I'll be announcing when the podcast is streaming. So I'll put that link in the description as well, and you can check it out and chat with some awesome people. So, Boopcast. Yeah, how do we do this again?
I don't remember.
Podcast, it's been too long.
It really has.
So, I know what everyone's anxious to hear about, but we're going to leave the Weiss Character short until the end, because I want to kind of tackle this chronologically. You can see all of the stuff that we're going to be discussing around our heads. Yes. So, Volume 4 soundtrack came out when? Early June?
Yes?
I think so. Early June?
Yeah.
Mid-June? I don't know. I don't remember. Hello, Wade. Welcome to the stream. William, welcome to the stream. Cory, are you watching the stream?
Me? Well, I have to have the chat open.
Right. It's just like, oh, Cory is watching. I'm like, yeah, well, he's right here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Wade, for the Discord chat. Yes, also, because we're live streaming this year, there's no need to post your questions on Twitter ahead of time, because if you watch the live stream, you can just ask them in the chat. Also, if you can't catch the live streams because they're not at a convenient time for you or whatever, post your questions on Twitter. That's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the YouTube comments, and we'll answer them in the next one. So, I'm going to try and have this uploaded on YouTube the same day that it streams on Twitch, because I don't really have to edit it. It kind of makes my life a bit easier. Yeah. Volume 4 soundtrack. So, if you guys want to start firing off questions whenever you're ready, feel free to do that. I can't actually see how many viewers we have. That's annoying because of the lag on this one.
It says 5.
Cool.
It says 5 anyway.
Right, so should we just tackle this track by track, or?
Sure.
So, first track was Let's Just Live, the full version. I know a lot of people weren't as fond of the short version that was in the actual intro, and I feel like the long version turned it into something that everybody loved, which I knew that was going to happen because it happened with Red.
Yeah.
Favorite song from the OST, William asks.
I mean, I think for me,
and why is it bad luck charm?
I love Weiss too much. Mine's Let's Just Live.
Your favorite Let's Just
no,
Live?
This Life Is Mine.
This
Life Is Mine. My brain isn't on yet.
Obviously, This Life Is Mine. No, This Life Is Mine is definitely our favorite. I feel like it's actually my favorite song Jeff Williams has ever written, ever. Yeah. It's just perfection in every way. But Bad Luck Charm is an extremely close second. I really, really love that song. Like, extremely close. Just because This Life Is Mine, I think the biggest thing with that song is because he took it in such an unexpected direction. We were not expecting a rock ballad for that song. And
yeah,
it was
Beck, you made me get on Skype for the first time I heard that song because you were like, I have to see you listen to this.
Basically, the soundtrack or the 4 preview songs, which were "Let's Just Live," "Bad Luck Charm," "This Life Is Mine," and Bumblebee. Released a couple of days early, so I was on YouTube when they came out, and I jumped on Skype and I was like, Cory, you need to. Stuff is out, come listen. And he was listening to Let's Just Live or something, and I was listening to This Life Is Mine, and I just started freaking out. And I was like, you need to, holy fuck, this song. Yeah, so that was very exciting to hear him take it in that direction. And that's why it's their favourite. So let's
and he did everything we wanted him to do in that song too.
Absolutely, it was a good mix of the old and the new. And yeah, I just really didn't expect him to do that with it, but I'm so happy that he did. Yeah, Let's Just Live. So I feel like this is another When It Falls case of when the short version was in the intro, people weren't really that sure about it, but then when the full version came out, it all made sense. And it's quite long as well. It's like 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
And most of the songs on this album are really long, except for Bad Luck Charm, which is entirely too short.
I know, right?
And the bridge, I think, is my favourite thing about Let's Just Live. Except besides the fact that it's such a kind of a hopeful, upbeat sort of everything's gonna be fine song.
Well, it does that, but it also has it's like happy, but acknowledging the bad, but back to happy.
Yeah, exactly. Like the last chorus is really nice.
That last chorus, I could just listen to that forever and ever and ever.
It's nice. I love the last line. Let's dance and laugh and love and let's just live. I'm like, oh my gosh, my feels. Yeah. So not that much more to say about that song. It's really solid. I really like it. It's catchy. You know, the bridge is really nice. Most of you will have seen my lyric video for that song. If you haven't, I suggest you go watch it. I had a lot of fun making that one, actually. So, second track is Like Morning Follows Night. I had been looking forward to this track, and it was a little bit different than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, Larissa's at work, I know. Yeah, unfortunately, she's going to catch the stream on YouTube later. Here we go, they're putting lyrics up. So Like Morning Follows Night is a Black song, obviously. I just love any song that they make where Jeff and Casey sing together.
I know, right?
So nice. Like, not just because they're father and daughter, but because their voices were just made to go together. They just sound perfect. And Casey's basically like a female Jeff, so... except that she can hit these crazy high notes and do all kinds of things with her voice.
Yeah, they had that little part in This Life Is Mine, and that was just I got chills. Absolutely. Where their voices, yeah,
at the end in the rock bit, but it's the bit where the music stops and they're saying "I'm not your pet." Yeah, I freaked out when I heard that the first time. It's just amazing. God, I love that song so much. Young Bro, any song with Jeff singing is a treat. Yeah, do you know, Jeff sang a lot on this album. Like, he sang the majority of, like, Morning Follows Night. He sang Bad Luck Charm. Lucis Notori is another one he sang, which was for Ruby Grimm Eclipse. And, yeah, it is a treat to hear Jeff sing. Because I think on the Volume 1 soundtrack, the only song Jeff sang was I May Fall. And even that was Casey dominant. And then Volume 2... Was there any Jeff in Volume 2? Except for backing vocals? I don't remember. It was so long ago.
I don't...
It was. I think it was very Casey heavy. Volume 3, he sang something, I don't remember what it was, but... He was
decently in the Volume 3 one.
I think he was. And the biggest surprise in Like Morning Follows Night was bloody Lamar Hall.
Yeah.
With his rap bit. And I
kind
actually went, oh, when I heard that. I was like, oh, Lamar.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that they had him sing that part.
Yeah.
Just because that was like the really sun-heavy, like, I'm in love with you part.
Yeah.
And that would have been a little weird if it was Jeff singing that, but...
Yeah, and it made it a little less, like, mushy to have this badass dude rapping that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Morning Follows Night does have a sort of parallel to Jeff and Casey's relationship, which is nice. Wade's is armed and ready because he's a young guy.
Deserac. Me and Deserac.
And here's Deserac, says William. Yeah, Volume 3 was not Fall in Love with You. Thank you very much, young bro. And I'm the One. Those were the two that Jeff featured heavily in. And then backing vocals in When It Falls. Oh, yeah, he had those, like, screamo bits in When It Falls. Well, not really screamo, but wannabe screamo. Yeah, so, a lot of Jeff on this album, and I'm happy about it. Speaking of a lot of Jeff, Bad Luck Charm, when I first heard that in the episode, I was like, oh my god, is this a Crow-themed rock song? I'm all about this. Because I've always adored Crow as a character, because I love Vic Mignogna to death. And, who voices him, if you weren't aware. And I've always loved Crow's theme, because it's kind of like that weird, inverted version of Red Like Roses. It's really dark and sort of gritty. And then when there was a rock song with the theme in it, with lyrics, I was completely sold. I just love it so much. I can listen to it over and over again and never get bored. I know. It's like, I just love everything about it. The only thing I don't love is how freaking short it is.
It's so short. It's like 2.5 minutes.
No. It's like 3 minutes and 40 seconds. But because everything
Is it seriously still that long?
But because everything else on the album is like 5 minutes long, it feels so short. And it's really fast paced too. So it's a quick 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah, but it also has like 45 seconds at the beginning that's just instrumental.
Yeah. Probably the most fun I've ever had making videos for RWBY was doing the lyric video for Bad Luck Charm. Because I just got to do a lyric video that was totally centered on Uncle Crow and his badass fucking music. Oh, I love him so much. Yeah, so this Life Is Mine we've already rattled on a bit about, but I want to talk about because we've had quite a few Weiss Central songs, and we got yet another one with the character short, which we'll talk about later, but it started off with Mirror Mirror, which was kind of an introductory one to the character, and, you know, talking about loneliness and being cold-hearted and blah blah blah, angsty Weiss. And Mirror Mirror Part 2 kind of builds on that and is sort of more of a, like, where are things going to go from here? How is Weiss going to seize her destiny for herself? And then we had It's My Turn in that same volume, which was kind of it was a rock song, so it doesn't really fit in with the sort of Mirror Mirror pattern. But it's kind of like, I guess it was like her sort of feelings towards the situation that she was forced into from birth. So then This Life Is Mine is kind of a mix between It's My Turn and Mirror Mirror Part 2. And then it's also like it's starting off in Mirror Mirror, and by the time it's finished, it's well in the territory of It's My Turn. And there's a line in there which basically explains it all. Is what is it? Now this conversation's finally over. Mirror Mirror, now we're done. And it's basically like, this is the end to the Mirror Mirror trilogy, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
And then they fucking threw a spanner in the works when they did this song, but, you know. The new song is interesting because it's set before even Mirror Mirror, so... Hi AC, welcome to the stream. That's okay, Desiree. Thank you for joining the stream. Yeah, Bad Luck Charm was a bit of a throwback to the, like, Volume 1, Volume 2 sort of soundtrack. But just, Jeff and Casey, as artists for RWBY, have grown an immense amount in 4 years. It's been incredible to witness, especially Casey with her vocals. Like, I think the earliest work of hers I heard was Falling Towards the Sky from Red vs. Blue season 9 or 10?
It was 9.
Season 9, yeah. And it was during that big action sequence that Monty animated in on the highways, which is kind of what the one in RWBY Volume 2 was sort of calling back to a little bit. Same sort of deal. Yeah, This Life Is Mine is straight up guitar, but it does have that sort of, up until the end of the first chorus, it's basically what we heard in the episode. And then it goes somewhere completely different from there. Mirror Mirror Part 3. Yeah, I'm not sure about people calling it Mirror Mirror Part 3 because Flint of RWBY Nation actually tweeted a memo from Jeff about the new song, and the working title at the moment is The Path to Isolation, and in brackets Mirror Mirror Part 0.5, because it's obviously set before Mirror Mirror original. There's too many. Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna have, the title's gonna have anything to do with Mirror Mirror.
No.
Because it'll be too confusing.
It's already confusing. Chozo's listening in. Hello, Chozo. Welcome to the podcast stream thingy. It's early. It's early for me. I'm not used to being up this early. Yeah, what's next? Home. So Home was another one I was really looking forward to ever since I heard that tiny little bit of it in the episode. But the tiny little bit that you hear is you know, it's after that massive fight and emotions are running really high because all this crap has just happened. We've been stressed out for the last few episodes about the well-being of all our favourite characters. And then everything was fine and we kind of couldn't believe it. I remember because...
And it was also right after the culmination of Renora.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was right after that as well, and the little group piano in there, which is adorable. I remember because I went to RTX Sydney this year and I saw the finale live at a panel, which I filmed a reaction to. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure all of you've seen it, but you haven't listened to Home. What are you doing? Listen to it. You have the soundtrack, do you not?
It's on YouTube too.
And like, I remember just sitting in a room full of a few hundred fans where throughout the entirety of the first 10-15 minutes of the finale, the tension in the room was just so high and everyone was freaking out, everyone was so worried somebody was going to die, something terrible was going to happen because they bloody traumatized us with Volume 3. Yes, my alerts are turned off, Wade. And Wade, what did you do? Yeah, my alerts are turned off. I haven't got them to work for the Boopcast stream just yet. That's something I have to work on for the next one. But what was I talking about? Yeah, the tension in the room was so incredibly high, and when you're in a room full of hundreds of people, it's literally, you can feel it in the air. And when Home started playing, I feel like it was the moment everyone finally went, everything is actually okay. And that little 4 lines of lyrics was just so packed full of emotion. And I actually was trying not to cry at that part because I really didn't want to cry in a panel room, but everybody else was crying. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. Wade, what did you do? Yeah, I can't check my tips right at this second. Well, I probably can, but no, I can't actually. But thank you very much, Wade, for tipping. If you would like to tip, it's down under the stream. You don't have to, but if you would like to. Yeah, so Home, and it was basically what we all expected it to be, which was a nice, slow, sappy song that made everybody cry when they heard it for the first time. So, Yeah. Armed and Ready is one that we were all already very familiar with because it was in the credits for the volume. So by the time the soundtrack actually finally came out, I had listened to Armed and Ready on repeat for the last 2 months. So
yeah,
very familiar with it already. So obviously it's a Yang-centric song, and it's a kick-ass rock song about her getting over her feeling sorry for herself sort of crap and getting on with it. I liked the callback to the Yellow trailer in the bridge when she talks about bring my strawberry sunrise.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah, that was such a good song. I'm glad that that's how they ended. Like, that was the end credits one, because for Volume 3, the end credits song was Divide. I was like, it starts with a D. Destroy. No. Destroy. And that was so. Yeah, it was so dark, and it was especially at the end of a very dark season. And it was glad that finally had something that was like, yeah, we're gonna kick ass.
Well, even Volume 2's credit song was Sacrifice.
That's true.
Oh, and in Volume 3, after Divide, they played the first half of Cold, which just made it worse. So, I know.
Oh, it did make it worse.
Everybody was on the feels train at that point, so... But, yeah, even Volume 2 had Sacrifice, which is quite a dark song. And it's one of my favourites. I love it. The song made a callback to the Best Day Ever episode. Yeah, kind of. William, you've got to stop using these bloody acronyms, because I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Bad Luck Charm and...
Armed and Ready and Bad Luck Charm.
Armed and
Ready.
I'm constantly battling for numbers as well. Yeah, God, I just love Cory so much. Like, just... Vic Mignogna holds a special place in my heart. I'm a huge fan of All on High School Host Club. And he voices Tamaki Suo in the English dub version, which that is the only anime that I've ever preferred the English dub to the original Japanese. It's the only really decent English dub I've ever heard. Most English dubs are crap. What's wrong with acronyms? Oh my gosh.
Oh wait.
What's wrong with them is that it's not even 9 o'clock in the morning, okay? Got me some slack. Lucis Notori, another one we're all very familiar with, because it was, once RWBY Grimm Eclipse got its full release out of early access, they stuck that song in the credits. So that's written from the perspective of Dr. Malo.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been so long, I just can't even remember.
I know, we haven't played that game in months.
We didn't know really what to expect from this song. But to get a song written from the perspective of that villain was kind of cool. And it kind of made the villain seem a lot cooler than he actually is.
Yeah. And the thing I liked about it was that because of that song, I now recognize the, like, Grimm theme. Because pretty much Lucis Notori is the Grimm theme. Just, it's also about Dr. Marlowe.
Basically became the Grimm theme for Volume 4. And, like, I made that excerpt video, Nature's Freaks, which Nature's Freaks is a line from Lucis Notori. Because the motif for Lucis Notori basically became the Grimm theme. So, and it featured several times throughout Volume 4, especially when it was to do with the nightclubbing. It was the first thing we heard in Volume 4 too, when the Beowulf emerged out of the black goo. It was that motif of Lucis Notori, and it set the tone for the whole volume.
Yeah.
7:30 p.m. I'm glad it's an appropriate time for everyone. It's really difficult to figure out a time that works for everybody. Yeah, it is a good theme for the Grimm. It's really dark and foreboding and like creepy and unsettling. And Lucis Notori is a really good song for the Grimm because it is in a weird cadence and a weird key. It's very off-key. But it's deliberate because it's supposed to be unsettling, and songs that are off-key are always just naturally unsettling because it doesn't quite sound right, but it's done deliberately. On that note, the surprise feature on this album was a song that Jeff actually wrote.
He wrote it about a month before.
Yeah, he wrote it about a month before the soundtrack was actually released because we were expecting it in May, which is the same month.
Oh, should I turn my fan off, Wade? Is it causing a lot of background noise?
It's so hot where Cory is right now. He lives in Arizona.
I'll turn it to low.
Yes.
I'll turn it to low, and hopefully I don't die.
Yeah, he lives in Arizona. It's summer, like, he's dying.
Let's see, what does my phone currently say the temperature is? 106.
Oh my god. It's like 40 degrees Celsius. Right now it is, I don't even know what it is here, but I live in Australia, in case nobody noticed from my accent. It's the dead of winter, which is why I'm wearing my Weiss beanie, and it is currently 10 degrees Celsius, which is like 50 Fahrenheit? I can never like, ugh. He lives in Arizona, never mind, turn it up.
If I get too hot, I'll turn it up.
So this song, yeah, Jeff wrote it about a month before the soundtrack came out, because I think we and he were expecting, yeah, 50F, thank you. We're expecting the soundtrack release in May, same as last year, but Rooster Teeth kind of had other plans. And Jeff actually hurt his hand early in May. He injured his hand and he couldn't finish working on the soundtrack, so he decided to write a new song during the time that he was his hand was healing. And that song was Bumblebee.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, Virginia. Oh, it's nice to see where everyone's from. Virginia. Yeah. Oh, you guys are both from Virginia. There you go. 80 Fahrenheit, and SheNoob's here in a beanie. Yeah, it's freezing today. Like, 10°C for Australia is actually freezing. Yeah, basically, yeah. But, Jeff put out a statement about why he wrote this song, and it was basically because he felt like he'd been writing so much dark crap for Volume 3 last year, he wanted to put as much light and fluffy into Volume 4's soundtrack as humanly possible. And now, this song has sparked a very heated debate on Tumblr, especially about...
Oh, I think it's worse on Twitter.
Do you think it's worse on Twitter? Tumblr went crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Tumblr went crazy for like a day.
I couldn't go on Tumblr the week after the song came out because it was just filled with Bumblebee. The Bumblebee song actually was approved to go on.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have been on the soundtrack. New York.
It's just.
Okay. I'll try to. Isn't it very late over there?
Yeah, it was approved, but it wasn't. It wasn't like they didn't need input from the thing. They approved it, but there was no like main cast writer people input on the song. It's just something that Jeff said, "Can I put this on?" And they said, "Yeah, go for it."
Yeah, half midnight. Oh, so not too late. Yeah, Tumblr does go crazy about everything. But basically, the thing that they went most crazy about was like a lot of hardcore Bumblebee shippers were adamant that this song basically confirmed the ship to be canon, which is not the case. Now, Jeff Williams, if I know him as well as I think I do, has a long history of writing shit just to stir trouble. He does this.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. Like, a lot of people don't even notice, but he sneaks lines into songs that I just think are so incredibly cheeky. But this song is an entire song of cheek. Basically, I think what the story is here is that Jeff has written Bumblebee specifically to stir shit. Like, I don't think Jeff Williams is privy to any information regarding the progression of the story in RWBY beyond what has been released. I really don't think, unless he's writing a song, he's not told what's going to happen. You know, he knows probably at the same time that the voice actors know what's going on, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be, like, his method is that he has to find a reason to write a song. And so his reason for writing Bumblebee obviously is to do with the ship and to do with the fan base. And I think probably he's just a Bumblebee shipper himself, and he thought it was a really cute idea to write this kind of poppy sort of love song to do with the ship, but it is not confirmation one way or the other. I'm not going to say Bumblebee is never going to be canon, but I'm also going to say that this does not confirm it as canon. And the problem, the big problem is that Black Sun is actually canon right now. That doesn't mean Bumblebee will be canon in the future, though.
I mean, that thing is, the one thing you and I always disagree on is, I don't think Black Sun is necessarily canon right now, either. Because they're not, like, in a committed relationship.
No.
Like, they're traveling together, but they're not in, like, a committed relationship. So that's the only reason I'm like, they're working on it.
But, every time Blake looks at him now, she does that cute little cat mouth thing that I can't do because I'm a human, obviously. But, yeah. It's a very flattering impression. Yeah, I know. Well, people gonna ship, and honestly, I don't care. Ship whoever the fuck you please, but for God's sake, be rational about it.
Yeah, the thing about the song that I think is the only thing that this song I believe acknowledges is that because I think the song is from Yang's perspective. People think it's from both. I don't know about that. I think it's definitely from Yang's perspective. And I think that it's at least an acknowledgement. It can be an acknowledgement that Yang is probably bi. Like, I think that's probably the closest to, like, solid information we can get out of the song, is that Yang's bi.
Yeah, I think it's, in a show like RWBY, we know that Rooster Teeth is a progressive company, and, in a show like RWBY, I don't think it's a good idea to stick labels on anybody, because it's not even set...
That's true.
It's not even set in a world that even exists. It's not bound to the laws that our world is bound to. So, you know, I think that there are endless possibilities. Anything can happen. So, I think it's never say never. That's what Rooster Teeth usually say. Never say never. And Miles always says that when somebody asks him a question about the show, like, will this happen? Will these characters get together? Blah, blah, blah. He just says, never say never. Anything is possible. So... Yeah,
I think that part of the reason why there was so much discourse and why this brought it back up is because Rooster Teeth talked about... Well, Monty mostly talked about how in Volume 3 he was going to be introducing a character... who was LGBT, and then it was never explicitly stated who that was. Yeah. Like, a lot of people are making assumptions that it was Scarlet, but it was never explicitly stated who it was. So that's why a lot of people are like, you've still never told us. You promised us there would be representation, but it's not here yet. Like, and you keep saying it could be here, but it's not here. You're saying it could be, but it's not. So I think that's why so many people are up in arms.
It's a tricky thing because where RWBY's concerned, they really don't have a lot of screen time, and Volume 4 especially was a huge juggling act with just being able to show every part of the story they even wanted to show. So things like LGBTQ plus representation have sort of gone on the back burner a little bit to being able to tell the story that they want to tell. I think that representation is important, but I don't think it should ever get in the way of storytelling.
Exactly.
And, like, that goes for everything. Like, obviously Rooster Teeth, you know, they're not opposed to having representation. I mean, Emerald was black, and nobody really even noticed. I didn't notice. They're just, at the end of the day, they're just people. And what colour their skin is, what sexual orientation they are, is really not that important where the story is concerned. But obviously representation is something that Rooster Teeth is very passionate about, and it will be represented in RWBY, just at a time that's convenient for the storytelling. That's the best way I can use it.
Yeah, I think that the best thing that Rooster Teeth could do in that sort of situation is follow kind of along the same lines of what Legend of Korra did, where it was. But here's the thing though, is that they can go even further than that because Legend of Korra was held back by Cartoon Network, whereas that if it was, you know, Rooster Teeth did it, they can actually have their characters kiss. if they want.
Yeah, if they want. And
so it's sort of a thing where I want it, but I want it to be done properly, and I want it to serve a purpose, and I want it to be meaningful.
You don't want it in there just because that is actually the opposite of what representation is all about. You don't want it in there just because it's the appropriate thing to do. And Wade couldn't have said it better myself. He says that I just hope the story and characters naturally progress the way they're supposed to. Yeah, basically. And Crow, yes, I could see Crow being a very bisexual person. Because I feel like Crow is a very uninhibited character. And we already know that he's a bit of a ladies' man. But whether he's a man's man as well, who knows? I mean, I could see him...
I've always kind of shipped him and Ozpin.
Yeah, I could see him having done some very wild things in his younger years. Maybe not so much these days, because he's got a bit much on his plate.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and Tai Yang as well. Sure, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Tads for the win. I know, yeah.
People used to ship the entirety of Team Stark together.
I know. Well, Tai Yang had a relationship with both Summer and Raven, so my goodness me. But anyway, back on track. Bumblebee.
Back on track, yeah.
Bumblebee, it's just a really cute pop song, ignoring all of the implications that are hidden in the lyrics. It's just really.
I mean, it's also just one giant pun too.
Basically.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so much in there. So much talking about queen bees and return to the hive, and I don't know. There's so much in there.
Yeah, it's just really cute, and I like listening to it a whole lot. And then we got an acoustic version of Boop on this album. Now, Jeff posted a poll somewhere. I don't remember where it was. Because he was struggling with choosing which song to do an acoustic version of for this album, and people voted for Boop. And I think that was extremely appropriate considering the volume's content. And it's really nice. It's a nice acoustic. He didn't even have to change, I'm pretty sure he used the exact same vocals from the original and just stuck acoustic music behind it. Because to me, when I listen to it, it sounds exactly the same, just with different music. Did Raven leave before Ruby was born? Yeah, well, Ruby's 2 years younger than Yang. Tai Yang wouldn't have even gotten with Summer at the time Yang was born. So... That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Raven would have had to have left in order for Tai Yang to go for Summer.
Yes. You haven't listened to that either, William. Honestly, get your shit together, boy.
It was such a good song.
It was so good. I really liked the acoustic version. It suits the song very well, and it's nice to hear it refreshed. What album was that song on originally? Volume 2?
The second.
Yeah, Volume 2.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple of years. And then we got a couple of remixes, one for Sacrifice and one for I May Fall. Remixes are tricky because you want to have everything that's good about the original, but change it up. And that's a hard thing to do, especially with songs that are already so good, like Sacrifice and I May Fall.
Yeah, I typically don't enjoy the acoustics. Or not the acoustics, the remixes. My brain is not on.
I really, really like the Sacrifice one. I May Fall I'm not so keen on. Just, I think that messing with a song like I May Fall that was already so perfect and has a lot of significance was a mistake. Yeah, I agree. That's pretty much exactly how I feel. And just also, the remixes are too poppy. And it's a dark song. It's not meant to be poppy. Sacrifice.
And also, that's my garage door.
Because he did some interesting things with the vocals in Sacrifice. But yeah, I think tackling a song like I May Fall, unless you're going to do it, pretty much completely true to the original, is something that shouldn't really be messed with. You've only listened to 10% of the Volume 4 soundtrack. What are you doing with your life? Seriously, William. Young Bro says that people were complaining about Jeff reusing the vocals for Boop. Listen, Jeff had so much going on with this album already. There is so much new music on it we're lucky we even got an acoustic version at all. I don't mind that he reused the vocals. I think it fits perfectly. So I just think there's no point in remaking something if what you've already got works. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next...
I didn't even catch that it was the same vocals.
Really?
Like, I just was like, I just kind of assumed that she sang it probably very similarly. So, yeah.
The difference with that Yellow Trailer song, Djamba, is that remix was written by Jeff. Not by an outside artist. So, obviously, he knows how to work his own music. But yeah, the final individual track on the soundtrack was the RWBY versus the Bayringal score from the Volume 4 character short. I love this score. I loved it when I heard it in the short, and it's so nice to finally be able to hear it on its own. Because it's just basically Red Like Roses 2.0. Yeah, thanks for joining the stream, young bro. We'll probably be on for a while yet, so we'll see you later. When It Falls, though, already kind of got an acoustic because there was the one done by the Videri String Quartet last volume's soundtrack, which was played in Chapter 10. Yeah, Chapter 10. Which was after PvP. Yeah, that's right. It's played at the start of Chapter 10. So when Beacon began to fall, that was when that was played. Yeah, so that was basically the acoustic version of When It Falls. But doing a full acoustic of When It Falls would be very difficult. Really? Yeah, you forgot that exists. Yeah, a lot of people do. So that was basically the acoustic, but, you know, that it was only a couple of minutes long, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
After that, so.
And it was during such a just awful time that you're like, you don't remember the music.
Yeah, basically. I think actually when I reacted, because that was actually the first episode of RWBY I ever reacted to. Because after PvP, I was like, maybe I should do reactions because some shit is about to go down, and I'm relieved that I did because some shit went down. And like, I remember when I reacted to that episode, the first thing I said was, When It Falls is playing. And, that, again, sets the tone for the fall of Beacon completely. And, sort of ties in with the intro. Like, when everyone saw the Volume 3 intro, everyone was confused. A little. They're like, it's so dark, like, what's the story? And, the intro was warning us about things we were not prepared for, but by the time it got to those things, we'd totally forgotten that the intro had warned us about them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially because the last volume, or the first two, their intros hadn't meant much. No. So it was kind of a thing where it was like, you know, we were just like, oh, they're still foreshadowing events that probably aren't going to happen yet. And then they did.
And suddenly the intros were very foreboding for the kind of tone of the volume, which Volume 4 was, you know, telling for the tone of the volume. Yeah, so RWBY versus the Bayringal was an awesome bit of score. Like, you can hear Red Like Roses in there, but he's, in typical Jeff fashion, he's messed around with it to make it sound almost completely different. I love that he does that with it. Yeah, good bit of score. Especially, I love the bit at the end of it when she jumps out of the window and there's that, like, guitar bit that's...
Yeah.
I knew Young Austen was on the thread. So When It Falls gave me an anxiety attack. Yeah, and then there's the score, obviously. So we've talked about the score in the Boopcast episode by episode previously. So I won't crap on about it too much. I am going to do a Volume 4 soundtrack review. I guess this is kind of my review, but I am going to do a review. I don't know when I have the time.
Yeah.
The score... I'm just trying to think what my favourite bit of score was, but I can't really pin any specific thing down. I think just the Crow versus Tyrion fight, all of that score is just amazing.
Yeah, that's the part that stands out to me too.
That's the bit that stands out the most, especially because the fights, choreography, and animation was so well above anything else in the volume up until that point. And after that point, as a matter of fact, it was probably the best fight in the whole volume. Yeah, actually, it was without doubt the best fight in the whole volume, I think.
Really? You over the very first one?
Yes, definitely over the very first one. The animation in the first one had some kinks in it, but I can't pick faults in the Crow vs. Tyrion fight. It's so well animated and so well choreographed, and it just works. And it was the first fight since Volume 2 that I actually felt really knew what it was doing. Like, all of Volume 3, the fights were just not that great, except for Yang vs. Mercury and Ruby vs. Torchwick and Neo. Those are the only two that stick out as being good.
And they were both animated by Monty.
And they were both animated by Monty, or at least partially animated by Monty. And the Crow vs. Tyrion is the first fight since Monty's animation that I felt like has really been excellent. And has really been reminiscent of previous fights and previous volumes that have been animated by Monty. And that and the RWBY character short as well. That choreography
short
was quite good. And in the latest character short as well, the choreography was really... I feel like they're definitely coming into figuring out exactly how to animate these characters in the way that they fight. I think in Volume 3, everyone was completely lost. They had suddenly lost their principal animator for the fight scenes. Nobody knew what to do and how to animate the way that he did. And it will never be the same, obviously, but it is... I feel like they're getting to a point now where I'm like, yeah, these fight scenes are actually really good again. Yes. So, 47 minutes and that's the soundtrack done. Out of the way.
Yay!
So, moving on to RWBY Chibi Season 2. What was the first thing you said?
We're only going to be talking about the first 7 episodes.
Yes, only
because it's all you've seen.
Because that's all I've seen. I haven't seen 8, 9, or 10 yet.
So the first ones were Director Ozpin, UFO, and Dodgeball.
Yes.
Do you remember those?
Yes. I liked the way the first episode opened with the RWBY Chibi sign falling over and sort of really breaking the fourth wall. I love any jokes that break the fourth wall.
Yeah. Because it was just all of Ozpin's jokes about I would know that there was something going on. It's like, oh, after seeing Volume 3, you didn't.
Yeah, I don't remember the other skits in the first episode.
UFO, it's with Pyrrha and her shield.
Yeah, I even just saw it, like, recently as well. So I watched it and I can't even... Yeah, the UFO was a callback to last season when they were playing aliens with the Compost
King.
The Compost King board game. That was funny, yeah. And...
And then Dodgeball with Penny.
Dodgeball, yep, that's right. Oh, I was amazed that they made that really dark joke with the Dodgeball taking Penny's head off.
Yeah, I was kind of like, whoa.
I just remember my reaction being like, did they really just do that? That's, like, too soon, Rooster Teeth.
Yeah, it really was too soon.
We're still not over it.
But yeah, we really aren't. It's because we haven't seen any more of her. For nothing of... They never even mentioned Penny in Volume 4.
Yes, they did. John mentioned her.
Oh, you're right, he did. That was during episode 8?
Episode 10. It was 10.
It was 10?
Yeah,
it was 10? Okay.
It was after they'd split up.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. It was...
Oh, that's right, yeah.
In Kura Yuri with Cory.
He was giving her pep talk.
Yeah. Chibi Season 2 so far has been stellar, and at RTX Austin we found out the reason was because they've brought on a new writer for RWBY Chibi, and he's doing an excellent job. All of the skits are so funny and so well thought out. And I feel like last season some of the skits were just like not that great, but so far all of the skits have been hilarious. And I've been loving the
That's true, William.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Pura one was like kind of
battery, but like actually watching her head come off is a bit of a different story. Yeah, that's the quote there, Wade. And what was I talking about? Yeah, the new style of animation and the new render that they have on the characters, and just the way the mouths move and the way all the fingers move, and like they feel a lot more like almost like plasticine figurines. Like they're a lot bendier and everything moves a lot smoother, and as opposed to last season, which they were kind of almost rigid in a way. But now it's I'm liking the way they're doing it, and I look forward to seeing what they do in season 3. It does. Chibi looks
there's still so much
fluid.
There's still so much season 2.
That's the word I want. Fluid. It looks a lot more fluid. Yes, and there's still so much of season 2 left. You're right. We're not even halfway through. So, yeah, it's been good so far. Been really enjoying it, and I know that Crow has been in the latest episodes. I haven't seen it yet, but of course I've seen thumbnails because you can't avoid spoilers on the damn internet.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see Chibi Crow. You have no idea.
I know, right?
Crow is my favorite. So, I was so excited for Chibi Tai Yang. Like, when I saw him in the trailer, I freaked out because I love Tai Yang.
Yeah, you really did.
Yeah, I freaked the fuck out because I wasn't expecting it, really. And I was really happy about Chibi Ozpin as well, because it was something Ozpin and Penny had been to that people had been asking for all the way through season 1, and it just never happened. So I was happy that they're finally in it. Crow skits are funny. Yeah, I gotta... Right after this podcast, I'm gonna film reactions to episodes 8 through 10. Chibi Tai, yeah, Chibi Tai is hilarious. So
he really is.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of all the skits that have been in Chibi so far.
Well, in episode 2, next is Book Lovers, Shiny Badge, and Geistbuster.
That's right. Yeah, you've got the names up.
So I wrote them down for you because I knew we'd forget them.
The Book Lovers one was funny because just watching Blake geek out over books. There's another one where she goes to this book signing and she's just geeking out over books. It's just so cute to watch Blake geek out over books. It's something we don't get in RWBY proper. I'll have a look at that link later, Wade. Oh yeah, Wade actually met Cara Eberly recently at a convention. So, you're a lucky man, Wade.
Is that what one of the books said, William? I was trying so hard to see what all of them said.
It must be. I don't know. I couldn't read what they said, but
I could only see like slave to the sword and like another pun book.
I wish that Cara Eberly would come to RTX Sydney next year. Hope she does. Okay, cool. This one Yang throws. Damn,
I thought it was like
dark puns.
It looked like it had the look of a like for dummies book, so that's why I thought it was something for dummies, but I couldn't see what it said.
I did notice that as well, that black and yellow for dummies kind of look. And Shiny Badge.
Yeah, it was. I typically don't enjoy the shorter skits as much as the longer ones.
No, yeah.
Because it's just like little, as like, oh yeah, cool.
Geistbuster was funny. Possessing Torchwood's hat, I think, was my favorite thing about that. I just
the thing I thought about that.
And
yeah, I know. The thing I thought about that scene was that the hat lands on Neo's head, and I immediately thought the next time we see Neo, she will be wearing that hat.
Possibly, yeah. In RWBY proper, you mean? Yeah,
in RWBY proper, yes.
Hi, Wade. Thank you for joining the stream. fire off those questions, guys, if you've got them as well. Yeah, and Neo with her signs is just hilarious.
It's so funny.
It's so funny. It just never stops being funny. And it's like, it's such a cheeky way of just acknowledging the fact that the character still hasn't spoken, but they have not confirmed whether or not she's a mute character. They refuse to confirm that. They said, we've made a decision, but we're not going to fucking tell you what it is. Do you think we'll see Neo in Volume 5?
If so, I think it'll be at the end.
I don't know if we're going to see her at all.
I think we won't see her until whatever the big event that takes place within Haven is.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see her till then.
I'm personally leaning towards Neo is going to remain a mute character.
I am too.
The only kind of vocals we've heard from her was in Volume 3. She giggled and she gasped. So, she has a voice box, because you can't giggle without one. But, I don't know. I don't know what story is there. I'd be interested in finding out more about Neo herself as the character.
Already been confirmed in Volume 5. How?
Okay. Let's just
we'll have to...
for their response, shall we? Yeah, and I think the soccer game skit might be my favourite one, just because of the lineup. The sort of back and forth that each of the characters were having. Especially Emerald and Weiss. I think that's my favourite bit.
I like your dress.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Makes me laugh.
Everyone else is like, you're going down, and and she's just like, I like your dress.
So funny to me. I just adore those two characters so much.
I also, right before that one was the find a penny, pick it up, and all day long you'll have good luck.
Oh, that
Ruby walks by, holding a penny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of brings me back to the like tiny part of me that kind of shipped Ruby and Penny. And so it was just kind of like seeing that, I was just like, oh.
Nuts and bolts. And like Pyrrha, just anytime Pyrrha's in Chibi, I love Pyrrha. She's so cute.
Yeah, there was also the magic show.
Yeah, the magic show was really cool. Oh my god, I was so excited to see Chibi Velvet. I adore Velvet.
I know, right?
That's my fave.
When Velvet came out of that hat, I was just like,
Velvet! Oh my gosh, yeah, the whistle one. I don't remember what episode that was in.
Well, the next ones are Neptune's Games, Snaps, and Dad Jokes.
Ah, yeah.
So Neptune's Game was the one with them playing video games, and I like the name of the guy of Neptune's nemesis was Tail Fails, and then it being played on his tail, and I don't know. I found that funny.
Yeah, it's impossible not to get Chibi spoilers. They're always.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Snaps was with the filters from Velvet's
the
box.
On Crescent Rose, yeah.
I like that Ruby liked the one that gave Crescent Rose big eyes.
Yeah.
She was like, ooh!
And Dad Jokes obviously was Tai Yang's first appearance in the show, and was cringeworthy and amazing at the same time.
Yep.
I love the sun-shaped hole that Sun leaves in the window when he jumps out of it. It's just like perfectly sun-shaped.
I have that thing. Just screw it, and he jumps out the window.
Yeah, and I love Ren's line there. I don't remember exactly what he says, but Oh, that's right. I just remembered.
I have to iron
all my laundry. I'm loving Neith voicing Ren. He's really come into that character very well.
Yeah.
What was the next one?
The next ones are Fearless Hero, Whistle, and Girls Rock.
What the hell is Fearless Hero?
It's Jean as the huntsman.
Oh right, the huntsman. Oh gosh.
Save me, Huntsman!
Yeah, that, I mean, self-explanatory, that one. Magic Skip maybe ship John and Velvet. Bunny Knight, yeah. Neath has improved a lot as Ren, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my hammer? Don't touch Magan Hild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
that
one and the whistle one just
that was cute.
Cracked me up. It cracked me up because I just wasn't expecting it. But I never think about things like that. Like, would the faunus animal ears would they be sensitive? I assume they would because they function just like the animals would, I suppose.
Yeah, and I just like that, you know, it's because now they introduced Velvet, they can do more like broad faunus and animal jokes than just like cat ones. And so I like how she was just like, not cool.
Not cool.
And she was closing the door.
And Blake just looks annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
She always looks annoyed. But after Whistle, what was the next one?
Girls Rock.
Girls Rock, that's right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was...
We will melt your bones.
We will melt your bones.
Dad, I was gonna melt their bones.
Yeah. Ruby, stand up straight.
And then she's all like...
Yeah, so funny. Oh my gosh. Typical dad.
Yeah.
Taeyang actually reminds me of my dad in Chibi, which is really weird. This is exactly the kind of thing my dad would do. I think that's deliberate though. It's relatable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's not all of them, is it?
No. Then we have Super Besties, Rat in the Hat, and Meet the Author.
Super Besties was so uncomfortable.
It was really uncomfortable.
It was so creepy.
It felt kind of like an ASMR video.
I know. I was like, really like, you know, just, I couldn't describe why it made me so uncomfortable. It just did. I thought that when Weiss woke up and said, "Oh my gosh," I was like, that's not something Weiss would say. It seems a little out of character. But it just, like, something about the way she said it, just, I was like, doesn't really seem like a Weiss thing, but... Super Besties.
Yeah.
Weak-willed. Backup bestie, yeah, oh my god. Blake's t-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, I also, just part of the reason I think it made me so uncomfortable was just like, I don't like the idea of like RWBY manipulating her roommates.
I know. Just it's just creepy.
It is creepy.
Yeah, what was after that one?
Rat in the Hat. It was when Torchwick got his hat dry cleaned.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
I that one was so strange.
That poor
Yeah,
old
because
guy.
when they showed the him in the hat at the very beginning, I was like, that's not his hat. What's happening?
Yeah, it's the first thing you notice is like, that's not Torchwick's hat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that poor old guy. Oh my gosh, he's always getting.
I know, right?
Pointed at him. That's like the third time Torchwick says, "Hold him up now." Held him up.
And then Meet the Author, which you talked about earlier.
Meet the Author was adorable. I knew it was gonna be Zwei. The whole time I'm like, it's gonna be Zwei. It's definitely Zwei.
I kept thinking, I was like, who's it gonna be? It's gonna be, I was like, it's gonna be Professor Port. It's gonna be, who's it gonna be?
At first I thought
I kind of,
but then I was like, who's the one person Blake likes the least? Zwei.
Yeah, here's the thing. I kind of forgotten about the fact that they had that whole thing in season 1 of like they hate each other. So it was a thing where I was like, when they showed Zwei, I was like, oh right, that's so obvious.
Yeah. And then
the
what
last.
does Ruby say? She says, on the bright side, I think I can get you a date.
Yeah.
Poor Blake.
She's like, wow, that obedience school really went all out, didn't they?
I just relate to how much of a fangirl Blake is. Like a secret fangirl.
Yeah. Please stop hitting me. You're right. I'm folding the pages.
Oh my gosh.
And then the last 3 are Late for Class, Must Be Nice, and Evil Class.
Late for class. Ah, Chibi Oobleck, the best.
Mm-hmm.
That hair though.
Yeah. And he's got the little coffee stain.
Like most of his character model.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then of course the coffee stain on his shirt, which is really cute.
Mm-hmm. I miss Oobleck.
He doesn't move quick enough though.
It's someone we haven't seen for a long, long time is Glinda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not going to see Glinda though because of
reason for us to see Glinda. No, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, also there was a lot of stuff that happened with Kathleen that I don't think we'll be seeing her again.
No, I don't think so, unfortunately. Yeah, so...
I know, William, I was surprised too when she said, son of a...
Yeah.
I was like, Ruby!
Well, I think a lot of people forget, like, a lot of people were surprised that Tyrion called Ruby a bitch in Volume 4, but I think, having recently watched Volume 1, because I had Jenna react to it, I think people forgot that in the finale, Roman goes, oh, for a foot. When Blake holds a sword to his throat. Everyone forgets about that. Like, he's this close to saying the F word.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a moment that it didn't feel weird because it was like, you know, an adult was about to swear, and you know they do that all the time in kids shows, but this was like an adult actually swore at a girl.
Yeah, it was appropriate for the moment though. I feel like we've talked about this in the podcast already at length. Yeah. What is that? All the Chibi skits, or have we got...
Must Be Nice. That's the one where Yang calls Weiss, why are you so mean?
That's right. Pyrrha. Pyrrha's just Pyrrha. She's adorable. Yeah, of course.
And then the last one.
It. Yeah, but I haven't edited it yet because obviously it's 2 hours long and I gotta make it like half an hour. So, but it'll be up at some point. Yeah, Tyrion feels right swearing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Big bad dude. Also, he just had his tail cut off. Like that kind of makes it appropriate.
And they talked about at RTX Austin. Somebody asked them about it, and they said that they originally toyed with the idea of having Tyrion call her a witch. Yeah. But they said that it just made more sense for them to just go for it.
And like, bitch isn't that bad of a word. Like,
it really isn't.
It really isn't. Is it even a swear? I wouldn't consider it even a swear word, really. But
the last Chibi one is Evil Class.
Yes, Evil Class. Gosh, that one was fun. I know Kira.
Yeah, and the little bit of port at the end.
Yeah.
I was so surprised to see him. I was just like, what the? And also, I just liked how she's like, we'll be talking about booby traps, blah, blah, blah. And Mercury goes, she said traps. Silence!
Yeah. Sorry, my dog has just got snot all over her nose. I think she's got a cold or something. She's got the snottiest nose right now. It's unbelievable.
Oh, poor Kira.
I'm here, puppy dog. There you go. Yeah, so, you female dog, exactly. There's a bitch right here. You can't see her. She's down here.
Yeah. Hey, that's a very good question. Why was Port covered in cake?
Yeah, why was he covered in cake?
I will say the one thing about Chibi Cinder this year is I feel like she sounds a little bit less like Cinder and a little bit more like Jessica Negri.
Yeah, I think...
If that makes sense.
Honestly, I think Jessica didn't voice Cinder at all except for one word in Volume 4. So... To go an entire year only voicing your character for one word, she's probably not losing a sense of what Cinder sounds like, but she's probably just playing with the character a bit more.
Yeah. Plus, also, like, I mean, originally Cinder was a really dark, slow, methodical talker. Yeah. But in Chibi, she's like, you know... It's you know, my legs!
Yeah.
It is, yeah. But it is still, sometimes it kind of catches me off guard, where it was like, oh, I hear Jessica Negri, not Cinder.
Yeah. yeah, so RWBY Chibi Season 2, awesome so far. Look forward to the rest of the skits, and I look forward to how it's going to improve in Season 3, because I think right now they've achieved a really, like, the animation's really good, the art style looks really good, the skits are really good, they've achieved that real target level of the show is kind of hitting its peak already in Season 2, so I'll be excited.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm worried about as well.
Yeah. I hope...
Like, they're gonna have to find... Yeah, they're gonna have to find ways to, like, you know, freshen it up.
Yeah.
But, once again, Volume 5 could really help with that, because, you know, depending on how settings change and different jokes they could make. Like, there's always room for them to broaden out more.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, who's the chibi character you?
To lose how to do a voice, speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Even if you don't do that voice for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was Paul's birthday.
Who's your favorite? Who's the chibi person you want to see in Chibi most of all, so far? Because they've introduced a lot of new Chibi characters this season.
I might have to think
Hard
about
question.
that. I'm not sure, because
Yeah,
they've shown most of the people I was wanting to see. So, who's left, really? I guess Sage and Scarlet.
Chibi Neon would be amazing.
Oh, yes. Neon and Flint, and Sage and Scarlet. Yeah. Coco.
Yeah, and then the rest of Team Coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got some stuff they can do.
Neon is
Neon is, yeah. When's her spinoff?
No, right. Chibi Neon, yeah. God, that would be so good. Yeah, so moving on to RTX Austin, which was a couple weeks ago now. Shannon said in an interview at RTX has recorded a couple of lines. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, we will be getting Ozpin's lines through the character of Oscar and RWBY Probler, so...
yeah, that too.
There's gonna be big things going on with that this volume, probably. Now that he's met up with Cory. Kira, can you not? Honestly, you picked the worst times to be an attention whore, you know that? You really do. Yeah, so RTX Austin, they had 2 RWBY panels, same as last year. They showed the same stuff, they just, it's 2 opportunities for people to ask their questions. So some of the things they revealed at the panel was that they're making they have made a Pumpkin Pete's Marshmallow Crunch cereal with Pyrrha on the front, which is amazing. An actual fucking cereal, I can't believe they did that.
Yeah.
Like, talk about taking a joke that step further, you know?
But I want to buy it.
I want to buy it too.
I want it.
Absolutely want it. Ship me a box of bloody cereal. I will eat the shit out of that. Thanks for joining us, Chozo. Yeah, I want a box just for the novelty. I love that they used the Grim Eclipse art of Pyrrha on the front of the box too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my god, a freaking cereal. They showed off some new figurines as well, which includes Red Eyes Yang and all that kind of stuff. Some updated ones. Yeah, apparently the cereal's good, but knowing Americans, it's probably really sweet.
Well, it is a marshmallow.
Yeah.
Cereal, so it's probably going to be pretty sweet.
It's probably going to be like a Lucky Charms kind of thing, I imagine.
Yeah.
Will we see Adam in Volume 5? Probably.
I hope not. We probably will, but I hope not, because...
I'm going to say probably. I was honestly expecting him in Volume 4, and he wasn't there.
Yeah, you and I were so worried about him in Volume 4.
Yeah, no, probably. Probably we'll see him in Volume 5. It's also a question of, like, how long the episodes are going to be, and just everything they've got to squish into the screen time. Obviously, Volume 5 is... Here's a question I wanted to ask you. So we've had the Beacon arc, that went from Volumes 1 to 3. And now we're in what's being considered as the Haven arc. Do we think that the Haven arc is going to wrap up by the end of Volume 5 or Volume 6?
I think if they were smart, they would wrap it up by the end of Volume 5, because if we're going to see... If it's true that they only have 10 planned, that the show will run for 10 volumes, and if they want us to see all of the different kingdoms, I think it would be smart for it to wrap up by 5, but I just can't possibly imagine how it will.
I mean, we said that about the Fall of Beacon.
I did say that, yeah.
Yeah, and they managed to wrap that up in 3 episodes, so... But I honestly think that the end of Volume 5 is going to be the end of the Haven arc. I don't see how much longer they could possibly drag it out. Like, everyone's about to
That's true.
Mistral.
That's
they're
true.
about to meet the headmaster. You know, the enemy are all converging on Mistral. So, yeah, I seriously... I think the reason the Beacon arc ran for 3 volumes instead of 2 is because Volume 1... had significantly less screen time and a lot of setting up to do. Like, a lot of setting up of the characters, setting up of the universe. Really not a lot of story happened in Volume 1. It didn't start getting going with anything until Volume 2. So, I feel like Haven Arc is only going to be 2 volumes. I feel like it's going to be over by the end of Volume 5, and we'll be moving on. Yeah. So, what were we talking about? Vic Mignogna made an appearance on both RWBY panels, which was exciting, because he hasn't been to an RTX previously. Because he doesn't record his lines at Rooster Teeth, he actually records them in his bedroom. In Los Angeles, does he live in?
Yep.
Los Angeles. So he made us, like, really sadly said, I record my lines by myself in my bedroom. But he does such a good job. How does he do that when, you know, he's got absolutely nobody there guiding him? He's just such a professional, I guess, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't notice with his performance. It's just...
I know, Vic does. I was a little taken aback when I heard him on the panel at first, because I just forgot what Vic sounded like.
Hello, Sarah.
So it was like, when I heard him speak, I was like, what the...
Yeah, it's actually got kind of a high-pitched voice. I just don't understand how one man can voice a character like Tomokizuo and then voice a character like Uncle Crow. It just blows my mind. He's a very talented man. And he reminds me a lot of Miles, because they've both got that same kind of high energy, constant, like, constantly at 110%. Another appearance on the RWBY panel was Shivi Om, Monty Om's older brother, who brought a couple of his Dead Fantasy and his Haloed posters for the for Arty Animation to hang up in the studio. So that was a nice one. And he was wearing Ironwood cosplay.
Yeah, that was the weirdest part.
Yeah, it's so funny how much they all love RWBY, and Crow sounds like a smoker. How can he be voiced by Vic? Yeah. Well, he's a talented man, that Vic Mignogna. He's been in, like he said on the panel, he's been in over 300 shows and video games and what have you, so... Yes, exactly. Versatile, that's what he is. Another thing that they teased on the panel, but was not announced until a couple days ago, was that Ruby Rose is making a cameo in the Blaze Blue fighting game, which
games.
I don't know anything about this series. I've never even heard of it until now.
I've never heard of it either, yeah. There was a discussion in the Discord the other day. People were surprised. Somebody was surprised that somebody else hadn't heard of it, and I was like, I haven't heard of it either.
Beyond Dead or Alive, I don't play Japanese fighting games, so I've never heard of it. Some hard drives. No, he bought posters, not hard drives.
Yeah, he found
hard drives.
Well, he found the posters on some of Monty's old hard drives.
He found them on Monty's old hard drives from his computer, his personal computer. But he didn't bring the hard drives. He brought the posters.
Yeah.
Dead or Alive, yeah.
You only know it because of the spin-off that was beach volleyball, don't you, William?
Seems like it to me, yeah. He's only heard of Extreme Beach Volleyball. He hasn't heard of the original fighting series that is based from. You think they'll slip any FMA jokes in there?
I mean, the entire last, with Oscar and Chrome meeting up, it was the reunion of Ed and Al. So there's absolutely going to be Full Metal Alchemist jokes.
Guilty. William is completely guilty. William, Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball is the rude, perverted Japanese spin-off series of the Dead or Alive fighting games. So you need to get on to it. I spent way too much of my childhood playing the Dead or Alive fighting games. And the beach volleyball, I will admit. Something that was brought up, not at RTX, but at the convention they went to the weekend before, which is name I've forgotten.
Anime, yeah.
Was that somebody asked them a question about what they think their weaknesses is, Miles and Kerry that is, when it comes to writing, and they said that their biggest weakness is pacing. I 100% agree with that. Volume 4, I understand, was tricky when it comes to pacing because everybody was separate and it was different from how they'd written the show previously. So, yeah, they have a lot to work on as far as pacing is concerned, but I'm glad that they're aware of it, at least. They know that they don't pace well. So, I mean, it's a learning experience. Miles and Kerry can't pace for sure.
Yeah.
No, they really can't, but they will learn, I'm sure. By the time they've done 10 volumes of the show, I'm sure they'll have figured it out by then. Yeah, the last thing I wanted to mention about RTX Austin was somebody asked a question about the dreams that RWBY was having in episode 2 of volume 4, where she was hearing Pyrrha's voice, and asked what the implications behind that were, and Miles and Kerry confirmed that it was just because she could hear Jean training with the recorded voice of Pyrrha at night, and it was making her dream about Pyrrha, and it was just kind of her way of coping with what happened and with witnessing the death of her friend. So, not visions, not to do with anything like that, just stress dreams.
Spirit Guardian.
Yeah, not Spirit Guardian. They basically came out right and said that Pyrrha is not coming back on the show in any way, shape, or form. Whether as a ghost or anything. They basically said it. They didn't say it in that many words, but that's pretty much what they said. Yeah, so I saw Volume 4 as a new Volume 1 for this arc. Yeah, it was very much a setup arc. I think, though, because they don't have to set up characters, they did have a new world to set up, which was the world of Mistral. But all of the initial messy setup stuff is out of the way already, and they do things like the world of Remnant that explain the things that they don't have time to explain in the show proper. No, Pyrrha is not secretly living inside RWBY's head. That would be ridiculous.
Well, I mean, Ozpin's living in Oscar's.
Yeah, but that's like a different sort of thing altogether. Pyrrha's not a mystical wizard that gets passed down her soul via different... Okay, let's just not even get into that, but... Yeah.
Whatever the hell that situation is.
Yeah. So, yeah, Pyrrha... They basically said, look, Pyrrha's not coming back. Stop getting your hopes up. I mean, to be honest, they could be lying. They've done it before. But the way they talk
I just can't see how they do it.
Yeah, the way they talked about it seems pretty genuine to me. That doesn't mean that we won't get flashbacks, that we won't see more of Pyrrha. But as far as the story's concerned, she's not going to be in the chronological progression of the story from this point. Doesn't mean we won't see her. I still like the idea of Amber just being a voice in Cinder's head. I'm pretty sure the maidens don't work that way. Oscar's not a redhead, he's got brown hair. Yeah, so with all of that out of the way, and having been on the air for an hour and a half already,
yeah,
let's talk
the
about
part you're all here to see.
Because that's the most exciting thing to come out of Rooster Teeth in the last 24 hours. So, well, it's brown. Yeah, it's definitely not red.
Yeah.
So the Weiss Character short, it was shown at RTX, and obviously it wasn't like, and I know it was posted online, but it was taken down very quickly. But because they said it would be out very soon, like they said about a week, it ended up being 8 days or something. I restrained myself from researching any spoilers whatsoever.
Yeah, it wasn't like last year where they showed the character short in its rough form and then released it 3 months later.
Yeah, because they had editing problems with that one and rendering problems and all sorts of problems. So, no, it's not orange. It's definitely brown. Yeah. So, the only thing I saw of it before I saw the short was the teaser images that were posted on Twitter. And, of course, the tiny bit that was leaked on the stream because I was watching the stream at the time. So, but, I mean, that told me nothing, except for the fact that she was wearing her original outfit. And,
yeah, the teaser images gave just as much information.
Yeah, basically. Exactly. So, shall we start with breaking down the lyrics? Because there was a new song that is, at this point,
The Path to Isolation.
0.5, or The Path to Isolation. And it actually has quite a few lyrics. I think back to...
I was surprised by how many lyrics it had. Like, there's a lot here.
If you think back to Mirror Mirror, there's bugger all lyrics in that song. It's mostly instrumental. And some of the lyrics are repeated. So... yes, this is what you've all been waiting to hear about. So, we'll start by breaking down the lyrics. Now, most of these lyrics are blah 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 angsty Weiss, but some of them are really interesting. Do you think Oscar would need new clothes? I don't think straight away. Thank you, Stop Gold, for hosting.
I think he'll get a combat outfit. He'll get one eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Just not right away. He's got a whole lot of shit to figure out before he actually starts being bloody useful. I don't think he's going to start being bloody useful until next volume. Or even after that. Path to Isolation. Wonder if it's a kingdom.
Is that a reference I don't get?
I don't know. I think William's confusing himself. So, the lyrics. Some of them are impossible to hear because of the sound effects, and some of them, we have no accurate lyrics from Jeff Williams just yet. Ugh, he's making a Let It Go joke. A bad one.
Oh.
He's making an Ice Queen joke. I hate that movie. Ugh, I can't stand for it.
I actually saw comments on the YouTube video for it that people were like, wow, Frozen 2 looks really good.
Oh my god. Yes, Oscar will be doing a lot of training in the next volume. You're performing. Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah, so lyrics. Let's get on with this. So, the first lines, it starts with the unexpected loss of something dear. The warmth that comforted and cradled just disappears. I think that's just kind of self-explanatory.
Well, I'm wondering, what is the unexpected loss of something dear?
That's what a lot of people have been debating.
Because I saw people thinking it was maybe Santa Schnee, but I don't think so. Because I feel like he died maybe even before any of the Schnee kids were born.
And it's talking about warmth that comforted and cradled. I wonder if it's more of a metaphorical loss rather than a physical loss.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. If it was like, the loss of innocence and childhood and,
Maybe.
that whole thing.
Yeah, it's quite a... this is a tricky song because it's to a trailer that is set before any of the events in Weiss's story that we've previously seen. Who the hell is knocking on my door? Give me 1 second, guys. I better go see who that is. Cory, run the stream.
Okay. I don't even know what to do because I can't have a discussion with Beck about the lyrics. Anyway, questions, post them. You also think it's loss of her grandfather? I mean, it's possible because we don't really know when he died. Like, we know that he died, and that's when Jacques took the company, but we don't know when he died. I've thought about that too, AC, about Oscar and RWBY potentially being a thing, because people were talking about that at the time. But also that, it's kind of weird because it would be Ozpin then. As well, sort of.
Once again, university getting in the way of things. One of my uni books just arrived.
Nice.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
I was just talking about basically still that line, what the unexpected loss was.
Yeah.
Could be talking about how trolling Jacques is, yeah.
Yes. Bloody Jacques Schnee, don't even get me started on that prick.
I mean, she is also sort of trapped physically, as we saw in Volume 4.
Yes. The next line is, and in its place there's nothing, just an endless empty hole. The light that showed the way is gone, and darkness takes control.
I thought it was empty void.
No, because void is said in the very next verse, so that he wouldn't say void in the exact same word in two different verses.
That's true.
Yeah, and also hole rhymes with control, so...
True.
I did think it was void at first, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yay. Textbooks.
I only listened to the song once and wrote down what I heard.
Yeah, I listened to it so many times trying to figure out what the lyrics were. The light that showed the way is gone and darkness takes control. Yeah. It's talking about some kind of... Whether it's the loss of an actual person or it's the loss of innocence or the loss of freedom or... which are actually kind of confirm that Weiss is severely sheltered from the rest of the world. I mean, that's to be expected. She lived a privileged life, so... Yeah,
they talked about that in Volume 3, though, about how she said you can either, take Father's money and do, be his puppet, or you can see the world and learn more about yourself and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is kind of a thing where his control involves them staying in Atlas, like...
Next verse. Bitterness and anger are quick to fill the void. The path to isolation is made with the dreams that they destroyed. A lot of people think that line is destroy. It's not, because destroyed rhymes with void, so it's destroyed. Destroy does not rhyme with void. Yeah, loss of freedom, loss of, innocence, loss of whatever. I'm feeling like it's more a metaphorical loss than a physical loss. So, this angsty eyes, blah, blah, blah. We get it.
Yeah.
And then, the cold seems to grow in my soul, it's consuming me. Confused like I'm losing myself in the storm. Or confused, am I losing myself in the storm? It's kind of hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of... Yeah.
Yeah, again, self-explanatory. Growing jaded, being pushed, being pulled, I'm unraveling, can't find myself when I'm constantly forced to conform. Yeah, it's basically reiterating things that we've heard in other Weiss songs, just in wording it differently. But this is kind of the process of, as she's growing up, she's becoming more jaded, more cynical, more cold because of the way she's treated by her father, because of everything that's expected of her, being the heiress of the dust company.
Being burdened by a royal test, you might say.
Yes, by a royal test. Enemies surround me, but the worst appear as friends. Liars and pretenders only seek to reach their ends. This is the interesting bit.
I agree.
Who are these enemies that appear as friends that it's talking about in this very specific point in time?
I still think that this still might have this. Here's the only reason is that line mixed with the first one makes me wonder if Jacques hasn't. If this takes place not super long after Jacques took control of the SheNoob Dust Company, and what if the enemies surround me, but the worst appear as friends? Jacques was very friendly in the beginning, and then he took the company, and then he wasn't. So I'm wondering if maybe, but then it's still that still seems like it also could be weird from Weiss' perspective, because like she's 15 here, she would have known him for 15 years because
I think
he's her dad.
She's 15 here. Yeah, it's a couple of years before she went to Beacon. I think she's very young and inexperienced. The worst appears friends, liars and pretenders only seek to reach their ends. Yeah, I think it's talking about like maybe her father's business partners, just general people in her life that are only nice to her because of her family name, but really their only interest in the SheNoob family is for their own interests, to benefit themselves. So she'll be surrounded by people like that her entire life.
Like little Shitley.
Yeah. Everything is breaking right before my eyes. Looking in the mirror, I see someone that I don't recognize. I mean, this is where we get back to the angsty, I'm looking in the mirror.
Yeah, the whole...
I don't know who I am, blah-de-blah. We've heard it all before. I don't think Winters pushes Weiss unfairly hard. I think Winters' approach to her sister is tough love. And Weiss simply had to be the best to get into Beacon to leave home. And I think that's what Winter was trying to push her sister to do.
Yeah, because it also was kind of implied and sort of talked about, is that, like, Jacques was also responsible for some of Weiss's training, or at least he was, had hired tutors and stuff for her. So I feel like if anyone was pushing her unfairly hard, it was him.
Oh, yeah.
And Winter was just trying to help push her in the right direction. Yeah. Like, listen, you want to get away from this, you gotta do this.
I think...
You're already killing yourself doing this, might as well do this.
Yeah, exactly. Winter's approach is militant. You're right, Youngbo. And in Volume 3, we saw a lot of how their relationship works. Like, Winter's words are harsh, but you understand what she's saying. Like, she's physically harsh as well.
I asked how you are.
She's physically harsh as well. Like, she slaps Weiss around a bit, but Weiss can take it. She's a big girl. But, she says, stop doubting yourself. Like, Winter believes in her sister, and she's just trying to make her believe in herself. But, Winter's not gonna bloody mollycoddle her and be like, oh, it's okay. She's not that kind of person. That's not how she works.
Especially because I feel like that was maybe part of Jacques' original controlling, was letting her, I don't know, be sheltered, kind of.
My headphones are totally uneven on my head. Oh.
And that Winter's more like, no, you have to keep pushing. You have to keep, doing your thing.
Winter's concern behind her words is for her sister, whereas Jacques' concern is for himself.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Winter gives a crap about Weiss, Jacques doesn't. So... And then the last verse. Mirror, what's this thing I see? Who is staring back at me? A stranger to my heart has filled my mind. Mirror, help me. Who am I? Yes, the same kind of... it's interesting. Every Mirror Mirror song that's had this bit where she's talking to the mirror is set in a different point in her story and her character progression. So after, Mirror, Tell Me Something, Who's the Loneliest of All, which was the first one that we heard for the character, and also it's based a lot on Snow White as well, which is who Weiss is based on as a character, loosely. And then Mirror Mirror Part 2, Mirror, Tell Me Something, Can I Stop My Fall, and then Mirror, I'll Tell You Something, I Think I Might Change It All. And then after seeing it's like throughout these songs it's a conversation with herself. When she talks about the mirror, she's literally talking about her own reflection. And at first it was seeing the coldness and the loneliness that is her reality. Then it was about talking back to the mirror and saying, actually, screw you, I'm gonna break out of this mold, or at least I'm gonna try to. And then This Life Is Mine comes along and she just basically says to the mirror, talk to the hand, like, I'm not interested, we're done. But then to have that progression and then to go back to here, which is like the origin, it says, mirror, help me, who am I? This is before she even really knows who she is. Yeah, it's a lot more desperate. She's a lot more lost. Like, she doesn't have any idea of what's going on. Like, she's like, help me. Like, yeah, I think it's a huge cry for help, especially the part where those lyrics are spoken is when she's being pinned down by the Beowulf, and the rest are about to jump on her, and it's like, mirror, help me. And I think it's very metaphorical and symbolic. Sad. It's such a cry for help. Like, at such a young age, she was burdened with such huge responsibilities, had huge expectations of herself. And I think from this we can see a lot of the reason why her character became so cold and became so distant and unfriendly is because she, from the time she was born, she had a massive burden placed on her shoulders, and she expects a lot of herself. Especially just if you think about this Weiss and with this song, and then you think back to like episode 6 or 7 of Volume 1, and I'm not perfect, not yet, but I'm still leagues better than you. Like, you can easily see how this person became that person. Yes, exactly. You can easily see that. I think it's really interesting having Weiss, the character she was at the end of Volume 4, going from that and This Life Is Mine as the song, to going all the way back to here, to before we even knew the character in the White trailer, is really interesting. Because it really highlights her and how far she's come as a character in the time that we've known her. And it's interesting to go back to this sort of mindset with this song. It's a very, very different mindset to the one she's in now. And it's interesting that she would dream about that and remember that specific moment in time at this point in the chronological story. Yeah. And it startled her too, the way she woke up from that. Like, you could see that it was such a dark time for her. Because, I mean, this was a nightmare for her. Like, this wasn't some fond memory of, like, look how far I've come, blah, blah, blah. This was a nightmare. Like, yes. She can't believe she was ever there. So, AC has just brought up about Weiss not being able to rely on someone to save her. So, to talk, beyond the lyrics, to talk about the actual short itself, the first thing I want to address is that everybody is going nuts again because there were frozen roses shown in the very first shot of this short, and people are going, what rose confirmed? And I'm like, I'm so sick of seeing these shippers go nuts every time something like this pops up with Bumblebee, and then with... It's cold, okay? It's cold. She's in a garden. There will be frozen roses. I think it's just Rooster Teeth being cheeky deliberately. But anyway, long-minded intentional. Yeah, it's true. She is taking an airship to go and meet her sister, so she's probably just reminded of that moment in time at that point.
That's true, because she is kind of going to Winter to be saved.
Yes.
In a way.
And to figure out what her next move is. I want to talk about the voice pitch of both Winter and Weiss in this short, because what I'm wondering is, both of their voices are much higher pitched because they're a couple of years younger. Yeah, I'll get to that in a bit, Jumba. Those are blue roses. No, I thought they were blue roses at first, but they're actually frozen roses. Like, they're roses that have been frosted over because it's freezing. Yeah, what I was wondering is, did they have Kara and Elizabeth Maxwell physically voice their characters a bit higher pitched, or did they mess with the pitch in post, is what I want to know. Because I kind of feel like they might have messed with it in post.
I think they might have messed with it in post, because I can't imagine Kara getting her voice that high.
Yeah. I feel like they just made them voice it normally and then mess with the pitch in post. Also, listening to it, and it just sounds like it's been messed with. I don't really know how to explain it other than that, but to me it just sounds like the pitch has been altered. Like, by a computer. Also, there was a rumor going around that Weiss was cutting her hair short for Volume 5 after the character short was released to RTX. I don't know where that rumor came from, but it's just not correct. Thank goodness.
Yeah, I think it just had to do with people couldn't see her ponytail based on the angle of the shot.
And, like, it just wouldn't make sense for her character. I couldn't see her ever having short hair. It just wouldn't look right. Yeah, the efforts were higher pitched as well. Some of Weiss's efforts were really high pitched. Yeah, so she's not cutting her hair short. Thank goodness. I couldn't imagine.
Thank God.
And in the actual short, her hair was quite a bit shorter than it is currently. So hers was just about the small of her back in the character short. Plus the ponytail was in the center and she didn't have the scar. So all of that was straight away pointing to the fact that this is a flashback. And I was absolutely amazed by the amount of people that didn't pick up on that. Like, so many people in the comments of that video were like, oh, when is this set? And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's obvious. And
she doesn't have the scar yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wearing her original outfit. Even when the teaser images were being released, people were getting excited that she was going back to her Volume 1 outfit. I'm like, guys, are you not paying attention to what's going on here? This is obviously a flashback. Where did you hear that, Sarah? Snow White has short hair. Yes, she does, but Weiss is not Snow White. So, what else have I got written down here? It was really nice to see Weiss's original outfit in the new graphics.
Yeah, yeah.
It was really nice to see. And the detail on, like, her skirt and her sleeves and her shoes, and, like, if you look back to Volume 1, it looked like crap. There was very, very little fine detail, but now they have the ability to create those fine details, and it just looked so good. It's so nice to see her back in that outfit, but it's so much more detailed, and the way that they animated the clothes and the hair and the way everything moved. I feel like they've done some updating to their physics engine for Volume 5. I felt like the physics were really stellar in this character short.
There was still, I mean, I said this in my reaction video, but I still felt a little bit floaty. It does. In kind of the same way that it did in Volume 4, but less so.
Yeah.
But it's also that's kind of also the style they're going for. I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like it's partly deliberate, partly they're still kind of fine tuning things. What did Young Bro? The teaser images of the Beowulfs didn't make me think they were summoned. See, this I don't get either, because we saw Winter summon a Beowulf in Volume 3, and it was white with blue eyes. So when I saw a white Beowulf with blue eyes, I immediately went, Winter summoned it. And because I had already established that it would be a flashback, it just made sense.
Yeah, and the thing that when my sister watched it yesterday, she asked me while she was watching it, are these summoned? And I was like, why do you think that? And she said, well, because they're at her house. And I was like, solid reasoning, like.
Makes sense. Well, and it's a flashback, so obviously this is a time when Weiss was living at home. It just makes sense that Winter would train her that way. It's the easiest way to train her without getting actual Grimm involved.
Yeah, exactly.
It just makes sense. The whole thing just makes sense, and I was shocked that so many people were so confused. Yeah, the sort of whirling snowstorm arena that Winter created was kind of cool. I don't know if I suppose Winter did that. I don't see how.
Yeah. I think it was just kind of an effect of her summoning, because it was the thing that produced the monsters, like.
But it was such a nice background for the fight too, to have that kind of snowstorm sort of effect. It just made it visually more exciting. It wouldn't have looked as good if that wasn't there. And to talk about what I think it was AC mentioned in the chat a second ago, a lot of people are seeing...
No, it was Djumba.
Djumba, yeah, that's right. So Winter says to Weiss, I won't always be around to save you, Weiss. And a lot of people are feeling like that's foreshadowing to Winter possibly dying in Volume 5. I feel like, yes...
I could see it either way.
But I don't know that it's necessarily to Winter's death. I feel like it's foreshadowing to, like... Because, you know, Weiss is heading off to find her sister. But I feel like by the end of Volume 5... Weiss and Winter are going to be separate entities again. I don't know that's necessarily foreshadowing to Winter's death. I think it's foreshadowing to Weiss having to move forward without her sister, in one way or the other.
Well, I don't know. I could see it either way, just because, like, I know with shows like this, a lot of times what happens is like the older generation has to die, so the newer generation can take over, and then they learn from those deaths and blah blah blah. And killing Winter would be a fairly good way of doing that, especially specifically for Weiss. But at the same time, I don't know if the intent behind that line was necessarily like,
I don't know.
She's gonna die. I think it's a possible event in the future, but I don't know if this was necessarily foreshadowing that event.
That's a good question, Young Bro. After Weiss did the fly slash, she took a moment to size up Merce and asked, do you think that was because Weiss was new to wielding her weapon, or was she just surprised at her own skill? I think she seemed relatively... I mean, she obviously knew how to wield the weapon, so she's wielded it before. But she's at this point in time, she's discovering what she can do, and what she can do with her weapon. So, I think it was more of an admiring look. Really. Yeah,
she looked impressed and almost confident in that moment. Because I think it was more of like a look what I did kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Because she also thought that she'd ended the fight. Because then she looked surprised when the thing came back.
Yeah. William says retirement is the thing. Yeah, Winter's nowhere near retirement age though, is she?
Yeah.
How big can a SheNoob make their glyphs? I mean, the biggest one
we've seen pretty big.
Was actually in the Volume 4 intro. That's the biggest one we've seen so far. I mean,
I was wondering about during Volume 2 when she used the time dilation glyph on Blake. That was a pretty big,
I think it just depends on what the glyph is being used for.
Mm-hmm.
But there's probably
and just also the relative skill. I think that the better question is how small can they be? Because Winter seems to have like really fine control over very small glyphs, like with her little birds and stuff. And I almost wonder if that snowstorm wasn't just a bunch of tiny, tiny, tiny little glyphs, and that because they're so small they looked like snowflakes. And that's why it was a big summon.
An interesting thought.
I mean, it's impossible to say who is gonna make it through this volume without having seen any of it. It's really too early for us to make predictions like that. Personally, I still think Sun's gonna die. Like, I thought it last volume and it didn't happen, so now I'm like, this volume.
Yeah, I don't see Sun surviving the series.
Well, he's definitely not going to survive the series, but I don't see him surviving the volume, to be honest. I think Crow is safe for now. He's had a near-death experience. I think he's good for a couple more volumes.
Yeah, especially because he needs to get Oscar to a certain level of skill.
Yes, I think volume 6, end of volume 6, we'll see the end of Crow. Like, once Oscar's been established, I think then they will kill off Crow. I'm still wondering about Ren and Nora, because I'm scared for Ren and Nora because their ship has sailed. And we all know what happened last time they sailed a damn ship. They sunk it immediately. So, I don't know. I feel like they'll be fine this volume.
Yeah.
It's just all a question of, is the fall of Haven going to happen or not?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it going to get to that point? Because if there's a fall of Haven, everybody's in trouble. Everybody's in danger of being killed off. Except for, obviously, the main 4 girls. If Sun dies by anyone's hand but Adam's, I'll be upset. I don't think it's going to be Adam that kills Sun.
Yeah. Honestly, the person I could see killing Sun, Ilya.
I think that Blake has
Or maybe the Albane twins.
Blake has enough reason to hate Adam without that happening. Like, the only reason that they would have Adam kill Sun is to give Blake a reason to hate him, but she already has a reason to hate him. So I feel like that would make sense. Volume 5 opener, one of them dies. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to the podcast.
We're getting pretty close to the end.
Yeah. The thing about Crow, though, is because he has an aura of bad luck, it does actually keep himself relatively safe. Although, it could be argued that his bad luck did almost lead to his death in Volume 4, because his bad luck caused that plank to almost fall on Ruby's head, which meant he had to save her, which meant he got slashed by Tyrion. And he almost died. But
yeah, it's almost like the butterfly effect then.
It was Ruby's interference that caused all of that to happen. If she hadn't been there, that wouldn't have happened. But yes, we're still talking, believe it or not. Yeah, so gosh, how did we get so off topic with that? Oh, we're talking about characters.
I know.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about Winter dying.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything covered that we wanted to cover. As far as predictions go, it's way too difficult to make any predictions without having seen the first episode. Once we see the first episode, we'll know where the volume is heading, sort of.
Well, my question for you is, what are your predictions for the Blake character short? Since it's the next thing we'll see.
I'm hoping...
I think they're all going to be flashbacks. I hope they're all going to be... well, I said, I don't know if Yang's will necessarily be a flashback, but I think the Blake's will.
I'm hoping Blake's will be past, because I want to see Adam in the new art style, and I also want to see her in her original outfit in the new art style, like we did for Weiss. I think that would be nice to see. For the Blake character short, I think that they'll somehow dive into how Blake and Ilya know each other. Yes.
I think it'll somehow involve that.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so that's actually... Well, that's the most logical point for them to jump to. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, probably Ilya will feature in the character short. That would make sense, I suppose. If it's going to be a flashback, why wouldn't they flash back to that point, having now introduced Ilya's character and established the history between the two of them?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't we now see that history?
I don't know if it'll necessarily be versus William. They were friends.
Yeah, they were friends. Maybe training. What is Adam's semblance? Yeah, that's a great question, and I don't know if we're going to get an answer anytime soon.
Haven't they basically confirmed his semblance is his moon slice?
Yeah,
where he does
to do with his semblance. He seems to be able to absorb energy to some point, kind of like Yang does. But to a much more powerful degree, like he can slice straight through someone's aura. That is a massive, dangerous power.
Yeah, it's more that Yang's is it powers her up, whereas his is just the one big, like he deals it all in one blow, whereas she just powers up.
It's like he absorbs the energy and then outputs it in one big go, whereas she is able to output it gradually. It's kind of like she being hit powers her up until she hits her Super Saiyan, if you will, and then she's able to harness that. But whereas with him, he outputs all of his energy in one blow, and that's enough power to slice through aura. Bye, Larissa. We're about.
Bye, Larissa.
Yeah. Yeah. God, he's so scary. I do want to know more about his semblance, though. I want to know more about him as a character, because at the moment, his motivations seem a little weak to me, and I'm hoping that the Blake short will kind of give us a bit more backstory on him specifically.
Yeah, because I could really see the trailer focusing on, or the character short focusing on Blake and Ilya, and maybe even just show us the beginnings of Blake's doubt in the new White Fang.
I think it's going to be roughly around the same age as Weiss was in her short. I think they're going to keep that around the same time frame. Because we did see some of Blake's past in the White Fang very briefly in Volume 3, in the flashback episode with Cinder, Emerald, and Mercury, which was set, I want to say...
immediately before the Black Trip.
Yeah, I want to say a year before the events of Volume 3, or a bit more than a year, because it was set just before the Black trailer. Like, in that episode, Blake and Adam were about to leave to hijack the train. So,
they had to be there by sunrise.
And then, at the end of the Black trailer, Blake leaves the White Fang, and shortly after that ends up at Beacon. So that all happens in a short span of time. So it's about a year before the events of Volume 3 that we see that little flashback bit of her and Adam in the White Fang. I don't see Adam being a tortured soul, honestly. I feel like he is just an out-and-out complete psycho.
Yeah, I think he just has. I think he just has a lot of. Who knows? Maybe he has a tortured soul, but it's just the way he's going about it is so stupid. Is he's like, oh, one human hurt me, so now all humans must die. Like,
I really think that he's just insane. And,
I agree.
I think he's taken his ideals to a very, very extreme point.
Yeah, I mean, especially just the way he talked to Blake in Volume 3. Like, he was like, he thinks that she belongs to him, like, sort of.
And there was implications of romantic involvement between Blake and Adam, which is blur, because Blake was underage the whole time he knew her. God, he just gives me the creeps. I don't know about Tortured Soul. I think he's definitely a complete psychopath. That much is established, but I would like to see more about his backstory specifically. But seeing Blake and Ilya would be interesting. As for Yang's, I have no idea.
With Yang's, the only thing I can think of is having to do with her motorcycle trip to Mistral.
Yeah.
Because I can't see that she did that all in one day when it took Ranger months. Like, even though they walked and she's on a motorcycle, it still would have taken her a chunk of time.
Yeah. Like, a few days, maybe a week.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, you know, having to do with, like, maybe her coming across people being attacked by Grimm, or just a big cluster of Grimm, and, you know, you get to see her and her motorcycle in action. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I feel like Yang's is going to be present time. I don't see what they could possibly do with her past that we don't already know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why on earth would Adam kill Nora? That doesn't make any sense. I couldn't see the two characters ever even crossing paths. I wouldn't see
who knows?
Not
Yeah.
Not at the current point the story's at, anyway. I think when Volume 5 comes around, it's going to take Blake even a long time to meet up with Team RWBY and the rest of Team Juniper. She's going to be the last one that they reunite with.
Has most characters least potential out of all the characters? Yeah, kind of. I think I don't know if it was a massive turnaround. I think it was just he finally had the means to do what he'd always wanted to do.
Yeah. Minstrel.
Minstrel.
Yeah.
Two bards going at it.
I think I'm hoping to see in Yang's character short, if it is set in present time on her road to Mistral, I'm hoping to see some hesitation from her. I'm hoping to see if she gets in a fight with some Grimm, I am hoping that something causes her to have a flashback, and because I don't want her to just shrug it off and pretend like nothing happened and just go back to her old self.
Yeah, that's my biggest gripe with Volume 4, is that they didn't show her dealing with the massive trauma she went through. They didn't show her going through that, and so it's something I want them to show us. Yeah, and so yeah.
Blake had way too much time. She's a bloody screen whore. Fighting with the arm would be cool to see as well. Oh god, no. Blake is not going to meet up with the rest of Team RWBY in the first episode. I don't think even Weiss is going to meet up with them in the first episode. I think... Yeah. It will...
Blake's got some other stuff she's got to do first.
I think Blake's going to be quite later in the volume. Yang, I think, is definitely going to meet up with RWBY and Juniper in the first episode. Weiss, I think, episode 3 or 4. Blake, I don't think till about 9 or 10 or even 11.
You and I have had conversations about this before, where I think that that Yang will meet up with Team Juniper and all them, and they'll do their thing, and Weiss and Winter will be off doing something else, and they'll come across each other.
Yes.
But Weiss will still have her own thing that she needs to do, so they might not, end up joining forces yet, or who knows, maybe they'll have the same objective and meet up that way.
Probably.
And then Blake has to deal with the White Fang first.
Winter is in Mistral because she believes that there's a threat to Haven Academy, and that's the reason Crow is in Mistral. And now Oscar's in Mistral for that same reason, and Team Ranger in Mistral for the same reason, and Yang's going to Mistral for her sister, so she's just going to do whatever her sister does. So, I honestly think, I'm sticking by my prediction that RWBY, Juniper, Crow, and Posse are actually going to run into Sun, and that's how they're going to find out Blake is there. They're not going to run into Blake herself, they're going to run into Sun. That's what I think.
Or you and I have talked about the possibility before that Sun reunites with his team, but then goes off back to help Blake, and then the rest of Team Sun inform everybody else that they're there.
Yeah, so they either run
like,
into
oh,
Sun,
you just
or
missed
they
it.
run into Team Sun. Yeah, but they're not going to bump into Blake. Blake is not going to cross their paths for most of the volume. That's my prediction. I feel like there is going to be some of characters being in the same place and not seeing each other. Expect that to happen.
Yeah. Or just barely missing each other, where, like, they walk down an alleyway and then up the street comes the other person.
Do you guys
I feel like that's going to be a thing.
Crow will tell Winter the truth of Salem and the Brotherhood? I think it's going to have to.
I think, honestly, Winter might already have an inkling.
I think she is not stupid, and she's probably more in the know than we realize she is, but she just doesn't have the specifics.
Yeah. I think she doesn't know about, like, what exactly they're doing, but she knows that there's something going on here. And if Ironwood trusts them, I trust Ironwood, sort of.
Yeah, Ironwood. Ironwood's gonna go to Mistral now. Fuck, he's gonna throw a bloody spanner in the works, isn't he?
You think he is?
Yeah, I think he is. God, I really don't want him to, though. I can see him becoming a character that nobody's going to be happy with by the end of Volume 5.
Yeah, he makes poor decisions.
God, he reminds me of Ned Stark. Just
and Robert.
significantly more aggressive. Or Robb Stark, even. But... Sorry, spoilers. Yeah. We've been going for over 2 hours. We should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, we probably should.
Yeah, he is a bit of a loose cannon. He's a complete wild card right now. There's no telling what he would do. I know that
he wants to help them,
yeah.
but he believes that if he holds all the cards, he can do it. And I believe that Salem's counting on that. Like, she wants Atlas to consolidate power and leave the rest of the world, and then just...
She wants the kingdoms to turn on one another.
That too.
So, yeah, Ironwood, I believe he has the best intentions. He just is not going the best way about it. He's not being smart. This is the problem. Yeah, I think Weiss won't get back together with Yang and Ruby and everyone until episode 3 or 4. Yeah, that's basically right. Yeah, and as for the villains, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna be up to.
Yeah, who knows with them?
Who knows?
We still gotta find out what the hell was going on between Watts and Leo.
Oh yeah, I do not trust that Lionheart at all.
No.
Yeah.
The cowardly lion is gonna get them all killed.
Yep. Yeah, so we're gonna wrap up the podcast now.
Yeah.
We've been going for
Otherwise,
ages.
we'll keep talking.
So thank you guys for tuning in live. If you are watching this on YouTube now, you can go over to my Twitch, twitch.tv/SheNoob087, link in the description. Look at you. Pointed the wrong way.
I'll be your hands.
Well,
no, these are thumbs up. This is the...
And also follow me on Twitter to know when every podcast is going to be up. Obviously, we're going to do one after the Blake short is released and one after the Yang short is released, and then once Volume 5 starts, there will be weekly podcasts after every episode, as usual. And they will be all live streamed on my Twitch. They will not be live streamed on YouTube yet. I don't have the internet to do that. Unfortunately. I'm getting the MBN next month, so I'll see what happens after that's installed. But for now, they're not going to be live streamed on YouTube. They'll just be uploaded onto YouTube post. Yeah, thank you for watching, and we will see you next month after the Blake short is released. And hopefully we'll have some more concrete news for Volume 5 by then. 3 months to go. It's so exciting.
October 14th. Can't get here fast enough.
A week sooner than I thought it would be. Yeah, Artie's relationship with this community is double-edged sword. It's a pretty good way of describing it. Yes, so Remember to catch the live streams on Twitch. I'll post on my Twitter when they're going up. Remember to jump over to the Discord, because we'll be chatting about everything over there. All the links are under the stream. All the links will be in the description on YouTube. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in September. Goodbye.
Bye.